And I believe we are live. Okay, that's good. Good afternoon, Reggie. How are you?
Good morning, Paul. I'm doing
Okay,
well. How about you?
yeah, refreshed from the trip to Donegal. All good there. So let's. This should be showing on our other screen. Should be showing up. It's saying starting soon, but I think you said it takes a minute for it to kick in, doesn't it?
Yeah, it takes about 20, 30 seconds.
Okay, so nothing's appearing on your LinkedIn screen. Is there anything
Not
appearing?
yet.
Not yet.
Give it
Okay.
another 10 seconds. I bet it will
Yeah.
be there.
Okay, that'd be refreshing to see. Uh, here we go. Okay, let's turn that on.
It's starting now. Yep, it's starting on LinkedIn now.
Okay, that's great. We're in business. Okay, folks, welcome everybody to the Sustac Plans Chat Club, where we talk about AI innovation and ethics in this world of business and marketing. We're going to kick off with a little tune, which is "Can I Be Free Like You?" Because we're going to be talking about some controlling forces that maybe make you less free than you think you are in this crazy world of AI. So that and a lot of others. But we'll just give you a little taster of Orca Boy. Can I be free like you?
Can I be free like you? When I lay on the ground, I like to think about what sunlight feels like, to be out there and smell the ocean in the air. Can I be free like you? Can I be free like you? Can I be free like you? Can I be free like you?
Well, there we have it from Orca Boy. Can I be free like you? We'll play the full track at the end of our 30-minute chat. That is written by an NHS, National Health Service, doctor here in this country and in the UK. So I'm talking to you from London, PR Smith, call me Paul, and we've got Reggie Johnson from Fort Worth, Texas. Uh, Happy breakfast time to you, Reggie. Thank you once again for popping in and joining us. Now, we've got a busy session today. We're going to be talking about some updated news stuff, first of all, like ads arriving in Google AI. We'll be talking about the future of search, SEO, and we'll also be talking about Amazon releasing their AI agents, which means a lot more activity. Then we're going to get into what I mentioned before the song is, are you nudged into behavioral change that you're not even aware of, that you're being changing your behavior patterns? So we'll have a look at that, and we'll also have a look at Trump citizen database sparking surveillance fears. We'll then introduce you to Peter Thiel. He isn't here right now. I should say he's not here right now, but we'll introduce you to him because we think you need to know about what's going on with some of Mr. Peter Thiel's activities. We'll then talk about will AI make us think less, which is a real worry. And I think it's a job us parents, grandparents, friends, neighbors have got to suddenly crank that up. They need to think more rather than less as AI becomes more dominant. We're going to tell you a shocking story at the end of the day about an open AI whistleblower found dead in very, very strange circumstances, and an interview with his mother, which is very sad and very moving and very shocking, and involves Mr. Altman and OpenAI. We'll give you the whole story of what's happened about that story. We can't say anybody's guilty or not, but it's a very sad story, and it's one that's been well, the interview reveals a lot. But we'll finish on a positive note, and that is how to perform well in Google's AI search. And that I'll ask Reggie to come in and help us with that. But let's just kick off today's session with ads arriving in Google AI. Reggie, is this right?
Yeah, well, we knew this was coming. I mean, Google is changing how search works with their AI overviews. People are more and more expecting a quick summary from AI rather than to go through the links and look for themselves and judge the credibility of the source. But how are they going to monetize this AI overview? So we knew that eventually ads were going to come. So that's rolling out. Google announced it. And even before they announced it, or right around the same time, there were people on social media who were posting that they had seen this out in the wild. So they announced it posted at their Google Marketing Live, specifically search, which are text-based ads, and shopping ads, and like a shopping ad unit that you're used to seeing a list of products, will show in AI overviews. And some AI overview blocks. Obviously, Google's very good at trying to detect the intent and whether or not it's relevant. So the ads are supposed to be relevant to what's being searched for. One of the advantages that some are saying, and this is from Anu Adegbola in the Search Engine Land, who wrote this piece about this. And one advantage is the placement of the ad earlier in the journey when people are still AI is still shaping their decision. They're in research. Is that a good thing? Could it be less cost effective when they're further along in their search, or could it be more impactful? Questions to be figured out. But the one question raised, of course, is will this compromise the editorial or informational integrity of the AI overviews? And of course, you could argue that the informational integrity was already poor, as some have pointed out, at recommending you eat a rock a day and that kind of a thing, but they've supposedly improved it. So either way, this is a big step, monetizing AI overviews, and we'll look on how it's going, because it's probably only going to continue in all instances of AI.
Yeah, so the ads are here, they're a bit more sophisticated. I guess it's inevitable that's going to happen with Google. Equally, Google is now moving on. Google is now offering a more AI experience, really, in their search. So, which brings questions about the future of search as Google search rolls out AI overviews and AI mode. So Gemini is really the future of search, is what they're saying. So it adds a new level of intelligence to search. Now, that's good for Google and good for the consumer or customer, but it may not be so good for the marketers. Now, we'll look at both sides of it here. But so what's this new search going to do with AI overviews, and particularly AI mode? So the search will do, well, I've spotted 3 or 4 things, and we'll put a summary, as of course this is recorded so you can listen to it later, but when we list the show notes, and we will put them up, links to this particular video that I watched, which is by Google, which explains all this, and we'll put that on prsmith.org/AI-topics, and Reggie will put that up for us at some stage as we chat. So that's always interesting to have a look at the videos, but I'll summarize it for you. There's kind of 3 or 4 things that I've spotted. One is that searches will be more deep, so that they will go into other data forms such as weather, news, real-time info, the knowledge graph, which is the knowledge base that Google own, which delivers relevant information into a little box beside the main search result. So they've also got shopping graph, they've got local data. They know your previous search history, so what your interests are. They'll want to try and find you stuff that's more relevant to that. They'll certainly use local data. They'll know, for example, if you prefer to sit outdoor seating in a restaurant, and you also like going to galleries, and you've asked it to find you a restaurant, it will then find you a restaurant, but it might give you a little tip. But by the way, just around the corner, there's a great exhibition in the gallery around the corner. So they're going to add a bit of value to it. And then they'll bring in, well, the possibly naughty bit is if you've booked a flight and your hotel confirmations are in your inbox, they might send you an event idea. So say you're going to Nashville, and you got your email to confirm through Gmail, to confirm your flight and your hotel in Nashville, and it knows from your previous history that you liked a certain type of music or a particular artist. It could send you a note to say, when doing any search, along with that, to say, by the way, so-and-so's playing in Nashville on the same night. I know he's your favorite, which makes me think, hang on, are they reading the Gmails? And I think there's a great debate about that. So that's number one. Number two, so it'll be much deeper research reservoir of information they'll be searching from. And secondly, they'll start to bring a bit more agentic, capabilities to the search. So again, if you're searching for, you want to get the best deal on tickets for, some baseball game, the agentic thing will fill in the form for you. right through to the transaction piece, or you can control the last piece of it, the transaction piece, if you prefer. But if you said, give me the best deal, any special offers, find the best deals in the lower level for this day, and it'll start to do a bit more work and actually buy it for you, having found it, assuming it's got the right type of thing for you. So that's a bit agentic, I suppose, where it fills in some information for you on your behalf, says and just tells you we've got the tickets for you. There's also a new try-on feature. So the shopping and commercial side is more interesting. So if you're searching for a pink dress, particular style, it'll serve you up places that have that, but it will allow you to then try the new try-on feature. So it'll ask you to send in a photograph of yourself, of your body, yourself, your face, and it'll make it fit with the way it'll fold and fit on you. It's quite detailed, so it's quite clever stuff. That so the AI mode tab will always be in the same position, unlike other tabs, like news, videos, and images move around. This will be in the same position because I think they see it as the future. It's fully live in the US. Now, the marketing problem, of course, for us marketers is, if AI mode or AI overviews are being used and they're so useful, why would anybody click on the site to go and get more? Because the agentic AI has done everything for you, for example. So there is a problem. I think there's huge drops in click-through rates and drops in traffic to websites. And so you're going to get less traffic. Now, you can moan and groan about that, but this is reality. You're going to get less traffic. So you can't track actually stuff coming through that's come through AI mode, I believe. So that's kind of makes it a bit more difficult. But either way, I think you're going to get less clicks, less traffic than you would normally, because Google's serving up everything you might ever want to know and even hadn't realized you need to know. So that they're trying to double guess. So it has an effect. Doesn't mean that you've got to build integration of AI agents into your website, probably, or maybe. But when Google was asked, the senior director of product, Hema Bajaru, she said, well, we just don't know yet. So they're on a journey as well, building and experimenting as much as they can. So lots happening with the future of SEO. Now, we've talked about SEO before. We will come back and talk about it again, because there are other ways of trying to get yourself seen by AI. And we've talked about them before, and we'll talk about them again. But I wanted to stick with the kind of theme that we're opening up here with just there, and that's kind of agentic AI. Now, Amazon are stepping into this space and offering AI agents. Reggie, is that correct?
Yes. So Amazon is rolling out its AI agent, with agents, as you know, as you talked about, you can delegate more tasks to it, give it more autonomy. You just explained how the Google is doing that. The thing is, they require more permissions. You talked about it making a purchase for you or having you take the last steps in order to buy things, make reservations. And they also require connecting them to other applications. So I think they've called it an ecosystem of apps, you could say. Now, Amazon has an interesting thing. Their model, which is called Nova Act, that's their agent model.
Nova Act.
Yeah. Can you guess what Amazon's competitive advantage might be with rolling out Nova Act?
Well, it's got to be the penetration of Alexa, is it?
Yes, exactly. The competitive advantage is they're going to build it into Alexa. And did you trigger Alexa? Right. You can't say Alexa. This integration could put it ahead of its competitors, because Alexa's already in Alexa is already in so many homes and likely integrated with many of your other apps already, or your subscriptions or your services and devices. So it's already connected to other things. It's got an ecosystem. It's in so many homes already. Distribution is already set up with excellent market penetration. And so I'd say probably the best comparison would be Apple's upgrade discussion about upgrading Siri's intelligence. That's something that's been talked about a lot. When are they going to upgrade Siri to their own? They're going about it a little bit differently, but that would kind of be another situation where there's really good market penetration.
Yeah,
is rolling out their agentic model into Siri. But anyhow, according to Amazon, Nova Act is capable of booking trips, completing online purchases, and managing calendars and to-do lists. TechCrunch actually gave them a good review, saying that Amazon's agentic model outperformed competitors like OpenAI and Anthropic. Now, there are some concerns. Privacy, we need guardrails. You talked about, is it reading your Gmail? It sounded from that Google event like it would be reading your Gmail completely. Cybersecurity is another thing, because any point of entry to something that has access, like to your accounts, to your wallet, to your money. That's a potential access built in for
Mm,
criminal hackers.
yeah.
Developing dependence. You talked about in the. We're going to be talking more about not thinking, but developing dependence and not being able to do actions ourselves anymore. And then one really interesting question for me with AI agents is hallucinations. How exactly will hallucinations impact AI agents? No
Mm,
one really knows quite yet how they'll manifest. Will you suddenly end up with a hotel reservation in Chile that you didn't ask for,
yeah.
or a
Yeah.
flight somewhere?
Yeah. Wow, that could happen. Remind me sometime to tell you the story of my brother-in-law who ended up in I think it was Georgia, but the wrong Georgia.
Oh no. Oh, that's quite a ways off.
Yeah, quite a ways off. Anyways, and that could happen, and that's an easy error, I guess. But there are others where it could be dealing with disinformation, or you could be dealing with fake information, or you could be dealing with just hallucinations. So
Oh,
yeah, that they all add up to all sorts of problems for the agentic approach. But we'll keep an eye on that. It comes up regularly, and we do kind of update you with the latest stuff on it. I want to move on to
let me
this
just
whole.
mention real quick, Paul. This
Yep.
is from Bernard Marr on LinkedIn from his article. I forgot to mention his name. Shout out to Bernard Marr. We like his stuff. So that's
Yes.
where he's given us a good update on that.
Oh yeah, nice one. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Bernard Moore. So this idea we've mentioned earlier on about being nudged, so being manipulated to change our behavior without being conscious of why we're doing it. So I mean, brainwashing might be the other one. The other one that was popular back in the day was, of course, subliminal seduction. When you put images, in, sexual objects into images, and people didn't even realize it, but they really liked the thing because da 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 da. Or Coca-Cola in the 1950s, every 30th frame they put "you're thirsty," and you're watching a Coke ad, but you're not realizing that you're being told you're thirsty. You're thirsty. People would get up at halftime and go down to the cinema and drink more Coke than normal, but it wasn't statistically valid research. But it is possible to subliminally seduce people. There's no doubt, in my opinion. But other forms of being nudged or persuaded unconsciously, when you don't actually make your own choice. Now, this is written by Dr. Sarah L. Deeb, who's a good friend of ours. Reggie, you know Sarah, so do I. She's very good to show me around Cairo the last time I was there at a conference. So Sarah writes some interesting stuff, and we'll put the link, as we do with everything, we'll put onto prsmith.org/AI-topics, so you can see her post itself. But this is the gist of what she had to say, which was, I noticed, this is Sarah's words now, I noticed this when I was listening to some music. I stopped searching for music. Instead, I rely on the Discover Weekly tab, and it consistently gives me tracks that I enjoy. It's got to understand my music needs. I've gone from searching out good music to simply consuming it, just pressing the button. It chooses for me. The algorithm knows me and knows my taste before I even know it myself, before I could articulate it. It knows what kind of music I like. So over time, my taste in music has changed, says Sarah. And strangely, she likes the new direction she's going in, but she's stopped. She's a good thinker and philosopher and associate professor. But it made me wonder, Sarah says, did I evolve naturally, or was my behavior subtly nudged by a series of algorithms controlled by whomever? Um, that's sort of nudging. Nudging is a classic concept. If you move the healthy food down to the eye level shelf, it will sell more because people's behavior, they prefer just go eye level, make it easy and do it. So subtle changes can root people around, and they'll buy more, they'll behave differently. So this is the power of behavioral nudging, gentle pushes, in this case by algorithms, that guide us without noticing it. And it doesn't feel forced. In fact, it feels like a convenience, maybe even a journey of exploration. Oh, I didn't hear this music before, I really like this. But behind it, the question that she's asking is, this is happening in all domains: music, shopping, news. The algorithm is feeding you, possibly into an echo chamber, maybe not, it depends. So you're not being bombarded with loud ads anymore. Instead, we're handed options that feel personalized. So we experience what she calls decision fatigue due to having too many choices, or what was once framed as the misery of choice. Isn't that wonderful? David Ogilvy, The Misery of Choice. You want to buy toothpaste? There's 100 blooming toothpaste. Just give me a toothpaste. So the misery of choice. So something similar to decision fatigue due to making too many choices. And AI steps in and helps us. But the more we rely on it, the more we stop choosing, thinking, and we just start accepting good stuff, good music, maybe good novels, maybe good stuff, but we stop making the choices. And so are we outsourcing our decision making to big corporations and their algorithms, is what Sarah has asked. Now that's a great question. That is one that everybody should be banging on in the pub or having a coffee over the weekend. Throw that into the conversation. You're discovering great music, but it's an algorithm that's doing it for you and other products. And are we losing the ability to think? Will we just stop making choices, just trust ALEX or whomever it is? So are we enjoying the freedom of choice? Do you feel this shift? And Sarah says, I, for one, found myself liking house music, even though I didn't like it five years ago. So there we have it. Are we being manipulated gently by the algorithms, or is this the ultimate in marketing personalization sort of thing? It's a great debate. These are good things to talk about. I really think they are, because it'll probably make you stop occasionally and just go and search for something, perhaps. I want to leave that there. Are we being nudged? Because I think it's one for us all to consider. The nudge theory is well established, books written on it and so on. Use your ChatGPT or use whatever AI you've got to explain nudge theory and give you lots of examples. And it's a fascinating area. I mean, governments use it. British government, David Cameron kind of set up a nudging department to get more income tax in. People get to pay their fines more quickly and normalize stuff and subtly shuffle things around, and he had success at that. Now, algorithms feed upon data from us, but the worry is, and over to you, Reggie, the worry is, if there's so much data around this, suddenly does it become, are there surveillance issues? So Trump's citizens database is sparking surveillance fears. That's sort of MAGA base being rocked by Trump's unnerving citizen database, sparking surveillance fears. Is there any grounds for fear here?
Yes, Anthony Orrico from the Irish Star wrote this article about this, and he pointed out that with the help of the Department of Government Efficiency, that's Elon Musk's area that's already been criticized for digging into massive amounts of citizen data, they've contracted with Peter Thiel's Palantir to build a database of American citizens' personal information. The surveillance powers is unprecedented in American history and has even caused some conservatives amongst the MAGA ranks to be upset, which is pretty rare, as usually they defend Trump, whatever he's doing, and however authoritarian it might seem to others, they have said, well, this is the reason why, and it's okay because of this, and we trust him. But he's getting some criticism from his own supporters. Anyway, it's a sign of increasing power and influence of tech companies as well, and the threats to American civil liberties. So Trump has given Palantir $113 million in federal contracts since his presidency began in January. And that's in addition to $795 million with the Department of Defense, according to a report by the New Republic. So Foundry is Palantir's data analytics platform. It's being used by several government departments, including ones with deeply personal information, like the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Health and Human Services. Now, just to finish with a couple quotes from Trump supporters offering rare criticism of their leader. Here's one from X. People are so quick to suggest that I flipped on Trump. No, I didn't flip on Trump. Trump flipped on us. I'm just not willing to continue living a lie, and I will tell you the unfortunate truth about it, said the Patriot Voice, wrote on his X account to his 158,000 followers. Now, Nick Fuentes, you remember the name Nick Fuentes, right?
All right, Trump supporter, yep.
Yep, it's called America First, calls himself a white nationalist. He said this union between Trump and Palantir was the ultimate betrayal of his own people. He said feeding every mega extremist into an AI database controlled by CASA Mossad cutout, Fuentes wrote on X. He said, seriously, if Palantir isn't the deep state, then what is? And he's got 500,000 followers. If Palantir isn't the deep state, then what is? Now, Trump ran on a platform of this supposed deep state that he was going to drain the swamp and all this, which has amounted to mainly him firing people that are disloyal to him or randomly through AI, as some have said. So Fuentes also shared a video saying they're tracking everybody that criticizes Israel, everybody that interacts with somebody that's criticizing Israel, and whether you're on a visa or not, whether you're a citizen or not, whether you're brown or not, Christian or Muslim, they're putting you in the Palantir database. They're putting you on the enemies list. If you don't see a problem with that, ... And it's worth noting that many books about dictators have pointed out that people like Stalin, Hitler, famous dictators have started out by creating massive surveillance to identify detractors and those that are not loyal to them out of paranoia that someone might stop them from achieving the power they want to. So interesting thinking, very concerning, and a lot of opinions about it, but it's great to see people from his own party criticizing it too. We haven't seen enough of that.
Nick Fuentes, that is shocking. Yeah. Now we've talked about Palantir before. They got the NHS contract over here for the National Health Service, all the database there. We've talked about Alex Karp, the CEO, who said on camera, and we posted a link to it a few weeks back, where he says any of America's adversaries should fear death. I thought, this is a CEO speaking like this. Strange company, Palantir. Let's talk about Peter Thiel, the guy who's behind Palantir. So we've talked about him before, but given that so much is changing so fast, you need to know who's who and who's doing what. I mean, overnight we've seen Trump and Elon Musk fall out. So you wouldn't know what way it's going to turn. So it's good to know who's involved, who's left, and so on and so forth. So Peter Thiel is the guy, the co-founder of Palantir. He's also, I think he co-founded PayPal. He's been a big investor in Facebook from the early days. So he has very strong feelings about, his ability and the necessity for surveillance, actually. And he has actually said, I no longer believe in freedom and democracy. And we'll put this video up of him talking where he says, we could never win an election because we were such a small minority, but maybe you could unilaterally change the world without having constantly to convince people and beg people and plead with people who are never going to agree with you through a technological means. So that, I'm guessing, takes you into stuff like Cambridge Analytica and all that data that Facebook made available to be analyzed by Cambridge Analytica, so people could target very, very precise. Now, I've written about that way back in 2017, 2018, after the 2016 election. Some shocking revelations, and that is fact, that they, access data that really people weren't aware that there would be news. But anyways, the perfect opportunity for Peter Thiel is to enact his plan was when Trump enlisted Palantir to build the most expansive surveillance infrastructure in US history. And they use this to identify individuals who are deemed to be risky by the system. They give the government more power than ever before, and they can be used to surveil, target, and silence anyone that the government disagrees with. Or, Cambridge Analytica, originally 2016. I'm going to post a link to the Facebook data, how it was used by Cambridge Analytica. That I wrote in 2019, but it refers back to 2016. How Trump won, I'll put a link to that. And Marketing Gone Wrong, the Carol Cadwallader, wonderful chat that she did for TEDx, or TED, should I say. So all of that we've come across before. I've written How to Stop Oligarchs. We put a link to that as well. But you need to be aware of Peter Thiel is out there. I don't know which side of the fence he'll be on, Musk or Trump or a new political party, who knows, this time next week. We've got a few minutes. So all we're going to do now is finish. Reggie, if you can, condense this concept. And this is another thought for people thinking about the weekend. When you're taking your break, we're thinking less, or are we? Or is AI making us? What's the story? Are we thinking less? Do you believe we are?
Stephen Klein, well, I don't know. I think it depends. I think you can use AI to help you think more if you use it right. But here's what Stephen Klein says. We've made a world that makes thinking optional. And here's what he says, a quick list. Cognitive offloading is one of the reasons. We've talked about that. Metacognition decline. Young people don't know what they know. Digital natives are worse at judging their own knowledge. Number 3, AI-induced de-skilling. And then number 4, deep reading is dying. People aren't reading to understand and learn. Number
That's
5.
A worry for me. That worries me, that one. People
Agreed.
I mean, one day books may not exist. And
That's
really worries
concerning.
me. Yeah.
Number 5 is attention fragmentation. The myth of multitasking reduces memory and reasoning performance. Number 6, abstract reasoning is falling And number 7, AI removes productive struggle. There's not enough friction in the thinking, which helps for learning. So AI shortcuts that whole process. Number 8, flow states are rare. You know the concept of flow. If that becomes more rare, we're not as productive. Number 9, social thinking is vanishing. So automated tools have replaced live collaboration and with synthetic interaction. And then 10, children are losing imagination because free unstructured play is down 42% over the last decade. He says we haven't just outsourced tasks, we're outsourcing thinking itself. And when we stop thinking for ourselves, somebody else does the thinking for us.
That is the scary stuff. And, we talked about Peter Thiel, we've talked about, all the manipulation and the nudging and the potential. And if we're not thinking, we're just walking in and being advised by ALEX and others, or A, should I say, ALEXA. So this is an issue, and I really think schools and education has to address this, and we have to address it. And when I did my master's in the 1980s in London in Cass Business School, well respected, one of the professors there wouldn't allow us to photocopy stuff from books or articles in the library. Wouldn't allow it, and asked the library not to allow it for his particular group on the basis that it would damage your ability to memorize and analyze if you're just photocopying sections of the book. Now, I thought it was a bit archaic, but certainly well, tonight, for example, I'm meeting up with an 83-year-old neighbor who's a very good friend of mine, and we're going to watch the Irish football match tonight. There's a friendly game on the telly tonight. I meet him once a week. We have a drink and a chat about life and so on and so forth. And he's kind of concerned that, maybe, sometimes we can't remember the names of various football players. And he says, go on, ask ALEXA. He's got that in his house as well. And I said, no, hang on, let's give this a go before we are defeaters and give up to Google or whatever, or ALEXA or whatever. It's so we actually do that, and we give it a few minutes of giving it a go. And I'd say about 50% of the time we do come up with it. Sometimes it might take longer than a minute or two, but it's just good for the brain, I think, to try and activate the memory. So I've got a terrible memory. My wife will tell you I'm a disgrace when you meet people. Hello. Sometimes I used to write their names in my hands. I'm getting much too personal now, too much information for the weekend. But that's a great thought for the weekend. Where are we thinking less? And the one that caught my ear was what you said there, Reggie, at the very end. Children are losing imagination. Free unstructured play is down 42% in the last decade. So there's only almost half as much free unstructured playing with a cardboard box or a doll and taking the time to play with the kid. That is losing out, and that'd be tragedy, because I think that's where great brains are nurtured, I think. Now, we're going to have to pick up the missing pieces from last week. The OpenAI whistleblower, we'll pick that up next week, and how to perform well in Google's AI search. If that's okay, Reggie, we'll hold that positive story. And there is lots of positive stuff out there. Certainly, we're just looking around at the news this morning. Everything's changing around the world quicker than you can imagine. And you know what I'm talking about. The fallout between Trump and Elon Musk, his once dear close friend, is now at opposite poles and loggerheads. It's extraordinary watching this unfold. So we'll stop there. Our agenda changes right up to the last minute when we do this, and makes it tricky sometimes. But certainly, there's no shortage of fascinating material out there, and we're in a fascinating period right now. That's for sure. Okay, enough. It's just, oh my goodness, it's 1:32. My apologies, folks. We've gone 2 minutes over time. We don't like to do that to you, so we'll finish straight away. We'll play this out with Orchid Boy. Can I be free like you? See you next week. We'll post the notes as always on prsmith.org/AI-topics. See you then, folks. All the very, very best for now. Let's get the music on. Orchid Boy from, NHS Doctor.
When I lay on the ground, I
Have a great weekend. Cheers,
about
Reggie.
what sunlight feels like, to be out there and smell the ocean in the air. Can I be free like you? 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 Will the world be kind if I cross the border and I stare it in the eye? And And if I count to 10, might I wake in the midst of a billion stars again? Can I be free like you? 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 Oh, far and wide, there are dreams scattered across the night. And in the midst, there is one that is mine, that'll vanish in time. Can I be free like you? 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 I want to be free like you. 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 Can I be free like you? Can I be free like you? I want to be free like you. Can I be free like you? Like you. Like you. Like you. Can I be
Next week.
free like